So, Mateo, have you heard of Pine Vinyl?
No, Zach, I haven't. Tell me, what is Pine Vinyl?
Pine Vinyl is an animated indie cartoon that was made by a guy in his 30s.
You see an indie cartoon like
Not like Hazbin Hotel, where it's gay. Like indie, as in like an early adult swim
Space
indie.
King?
Like Space King indie, but they actually put out episodes. It looks like shit, but that's kind of the charm. Like Adult Swim.
Oh, this is like low quality, like Robot Chicken
Yes, but it's more about putting out episodes,
of something.
weekly. Yes, because it was a comic book series at one point in time. I mean, a comic series, not like
So who's the
comic
main
book.
character of Pine Vinyl? What's the plot?
Rugburn, James Rugburn.
James Rugburn. What's
Yeah,
James
and
Rugburn all about?
James Rugburn. Well, his best friend Ellis and James Rugburn co-own a record shop, and they were high one day, and they were thinking to themselves, what is a good name that goes with weed or plants and records?
Pine Vinyl.
Dude, pine trees have needles, and
They
record
do.
players have needles. I know,
Figured
right?
it out. Yeah.
Dude, so smart. So,
Oh
anyway,
man.
we were going to talk about cigarettes in this episode, guys.
That's right. I forgot you wanted to do the cigarette discussion. Let me pull up your notes you sent me.
Yes. I'm going to pull up the notes too. Wait 1 second. Notes.
But Zach, I have a question. Where do cigarettes come from? Like, when was the first cigarette invented?
So, that's not what I learned about. I learned about the mascots, Mateo.
So you're telling me, okay, fine, we'll do a
I
quick
focused
Google.
on like the mascots. So Jerome Camel came out in
When were
19
cigarettes invented? I'm
when
sorry.
were cigarettes invented?
So according to Google, uh, early in the 16th century, uh, Seville, I don't know. Says right here, uh, discarded cigar butts, shred them, and roll the scraps of
Wow,
paper
he's
into
filling this over
cigarettes.
the joint, guys.
So apparently, cigarettes were invented in the 16th century, but the modern cigarettes were invented in the 1880s. That's when the
Okay.
rolling machine was invented by James Albert Bonsack.
And he was a cool dude.
So, what company of cigarettes are your favorite, Zach?
My favorite cigarette personally is Camel cigarettes, but I'm
When were
also
camels invented?
what?
When did camels come out?
Okay. I more looked into the like people who played characters for them.
Okay, tell me about camel cigarettes.
Okay, so 1 second, I'm looking at my notes.
Take your
In
time.
1970, Camel was a brand that existed. And then they decided that what if we had a idea to trick the next generation into cigarettes? Now I
So,
know
wait, in the 70s, cigarettes were big. I mean, that makes sense. I've seen Quentin Tarantino movies. But you're telling me they were already thinking, like, how can we market this for kids of the 80s?
here's an interesting one. Here's an interesting one I found.
Okay.
So in 1950, Camel cigarettes was one of the brands that was talking about how their filters were better, and it turned out they were asbestos.
Oh no! They had asbestos in the cigarette filters?
Yeah, they had it in the filters, man. And
That
as
means
you
you're not
know,
only getting nicotine, you're getting asbestos too.
yeah, the tastiness of asbestos. Why not also throw in a little bit of fiberglass?
For real?
No, but that would be a horrible additive. Think about
I
it.
mean,
Asbestos, fiberglass, and what's that one that they put dead bodies in?
formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde, yes. That
I
would
don't
be
know if
like,
it's true, but I read a thing online saying vapes, based on new studies, are worse than cigarettes because they have equal, or I don't know. I saw an article on the internet. So Joe Camel.
We're not here to make like any opinions on cigarettes. I'm pointing this out, cigarette companies.
Oh yeah, if you want to
In
smoke a
fact, I very
cigarette,
much enjoy the
I'm not
fact
gonna
that you
look. If
guys
you want to,
have mascots.
I mean, I think their mascots are cool, but if you want to smoke a cigarette, you can. But I don't
Yeah,
think you should smoke a cigarette personally.
but we're not telling you personally to go out and smoke cigarettes. We're not telling you to quit.
No, we're
Personally,
just
I
saying
think,
Joe Camel was a guy.
yeah, Joe Camel was a guy.
Yeah. So Joe Camel in the 70s, they were trying to market for the next generation into the 80s. How were they marketing?
Yeah, they were marketing with Joe Camel as like the nightlife guy. Joe Camel was the hip, cool one. They had a thing called Camel Cash, and if you had Camel Cash, you could refund that and
How
get
did you get Camel
actual
Cash?
prizes. What?
How did you get Camel Cash?
You pop packs of Camel cigarettes,
So it would have like tickets in there.
and each pack would have like $100 Camel Cash, and it was like
I-
a card.
I'm looking at a picture of him. He looks very James Bond-like in his
I,
suit.
I feel very Mac Knighty with him,
Yeah, he's
especially
very
that last
classy.
one.
Oh yeah, with the keyboard.
Yeah, he's definitely like it's smoking Joe, you know.
Yeah, smoking Joe Camel. I see his Joe Chemo at the very end.
Yeah, Joe Chemo.
Yeah, don't smoke cigarettes. They're not good for you.
Um, so
Or
there
Joe
were
Camel.
so we're gonna move on from Joe Camel, who never had a actual speaking role, guys.
He didn't.
Yeah, he never actually, because of laws that were passed around the time he came out, he wasn't allowed to have. Fred Flintstone
I'll let you
was
speak.
was allowed to light up a Lucky Strike cigarette.
I've seen the Flintstone ad.
Yeah, he smoked Lucky Stripes. Remember, Lucky Stripes. So the Marlboro Man, he was a cowboy. There was 12 of them. 5 of them died of a lung-related disease, guys. 5 of them.
So imagine Tony the Tiger, right? But for cigarettes. That's the Marlboro. That's the Marlboro Man. That's
Imagine if Tony
Camel
the
Joe.
Tiger was a real guy, and if he
Yeah.
smoked cigarettes, and
Imagine
if
if
he was like,
Woody from Toy Story was based off of a real dude that also wanted to sell you a cigarette.
dude, I would watch like a commercial where Woody was like, vapes, come smoke vape. You're not a man.
Woody's Roundup.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
Like, you know for a fact, Woody's Roundup had cigarette commercials in it.
Oh yeah.
That
Alright.
it was a black and white show. It definitely had cigarette commercial. Dude, I would love to see a cut of that, like the Woody's Roundup. Hey,
But
Woody, have you tried a Marlboro Red?
why I sure haven't, Prospector. What's a Marlboro Red? I've been too caught up hanging out with the Indians.
A Marlboro Red is a brand new filtered kind of cigarettes, Woody.
Well, I don't know about the filtered kind. Isn't it natural? What about tobacco?
Tobacco has nasty tar, which the filter gets rid of. As you can see, the filter turns yellow.
Is it accurate?
Fun, yeah, fun fact, the filter turns yellow, not for the fact that it's actually filtering something. It was more to show that nicotine causes a yellow sensation
You. Yeah,
when you smoke it through cotton.
I see. I see.
And if you saw the yellow, you thought, this is removing things. This is
When was
actually
the
working.
when was the first Marlboro Man? Like when did he come into play? What year?
1970.
1970 was the first Marlboro Man?
Yes, the first Marlboro Man was in 1970. He was the
Dang,
best-selling brand of cigarettes through 20 different generations of people.
pretty crazy.
And the fact that menthol was added to cigarettes, a penguin named Big Chill would sell you menthol cigarettes. How do you feel about Big Chill? I was not able to get a picture of him.
I don't know, man. Big Chill sounds alright, but I don't know if you could convince me to buy a cigarette.
Um, no, he was trying to convince you that like if you like cigarettes and they tasted nasty to you, try the menthol cigarettes.
Yeah, because that was like a mint flavor, right? Like it's menthol flavor.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes are bad for you.
cigarettes are bad for you. Do not smoke cigarettes.